Clock by the clock on the wall. Let's call this meeting to order. We'll see the roll call. We have Commissioner Proces is here. Commissioner Hill is here. We'll go down. Councilwoman Arms is here. Grant is here from our high school representative. Commissioner Ashley is here. Commissioner Foster is here, and I am here. I'm not sure where Commissioner Scooby is, but I'm sure he'll show up. First item on the agenda is the approval of today's agenda. Do I have any motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Approved? Seconded?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, well, we've approved the agenda. The next item is the approval of the Marina Advisory Commission meeting minutes from October 13th. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from October 13th? I have to point out, those were the best minutes I've seen. I mean, they were incredibly detailed and very, very accurate. So thanks to Kim, I guess. Are there any comments on the minutes from last month? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from last month?
I'll move to approve. Whoa, that was loud.
Yes, it is loud.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Public comment. Do we have any? Did we have any electronic public comments? Elise, do you know? Did we have any?
Not that I'm aware of. I did not see any in the packet today.
Okay. And there is a distinct lack of the public here today, so I don't see any chance of any public comments from anyone on the floor, so we'll move on. The first discussion item is the Moffett and Nichols permitting, dredging, and breakwater update.
Okay, so as you all know, the government is still shut down. So my update's pretty brief. We are still in a limbo holding pattern. We are waiting on NOAA Fisheries when they return from the government shutdown to be assigned a biologist for that. And we are still waiting to hear back from the tribe if they accepted our answers to the question of, did we do due diligence in figuring out if we could put the fill material somewhere upland? And the answer to that is yes, we did multiple different dives into where we could possibly put that, and there was just nothing upland that the city was doing that made sense to put the fill upland. So we don't expect to have any holdup or pushback from the tribes on that response. They're just responding in their own time.
Okay. Do you know, does it cost less to dump the fill on solid ground?
No, it actually costs more.
It does. I have a feeling it did.
Because we not only have to pull it out, then we have to put it on something on land and transport it from the marina to whatever location it would be going to. And it's very salty. Surprise, surprise. So it's not great for fill, like if they were looking to build up an area in a park and then put any kind of vegetation on top of it. It's just mainly good for salt marshes.
Do we have now, I know it's crystal ball gazing because who knows when things will get back to normal, but do we have, I know, Brian, you had mentioned that you had a target date of next September to start the dredge. That's probably out the window, or is it?
We are still holding on to that hope, and until the government reopens, I really can't give you a concrete yay or nay on if that is completely out the window or if we're still moving forward with the 2026. So as of right now, yes, we are moving forward with September 2026.
And how about the breakwater update?
So I don't have much of an update for that, just due to the fact that right now we can work on our design, but permits, we would be in the same situation where we couldn't really move forward with them. And from what I understand from the council vote is that we will be doing a major rehabilitation and repair, which doesn't require a lot of design. And I don't think we're going to need the coastal analysis that we originally thought we were going to need, which saves us about $50,000. Since we're going back with the same design and for, well, since the late 80s, early 90s, the breakwater has held up. And the major problem right now is the grounding issue, not necessarily the structure itself.
Okay. Do we have, and I meant to ask you this offline, but this is an easy question. Do you have a plan as to how you're going to do this, what phase, where the fingers are going to go, what piers are going to be removed, where the boats are going to go?
Going to be working with Moffett and Nichols. I already have kind of a basic idea of how we would rearrange. From my understanding, construction needs to be performed first, which makes sense because we'd want to remove the fingers we want to get rid of before we dredge so that we can dredge that a little cleaner instead of having to go under that finger and then have these random little mounds in side ties that wouldn't really benefit us at all. So having those fingers removed gives us more flexibility in what size boat we can put where during that dredge project.
And how about the roofs? The roofs will still be, and D-Dock will be sans roof, correct?
They are being removed as part of that construction for the mitigation.
How about the roofs on C-Dock?
Yes, all of them.
All the roofs will be
All
gone?
roofs will be removed. B, C, D, and E
Okay.
will all be removed, which will also make dredging a little easier as well, because they won't have to, if we end up not doing suction and doing clamshell, it won't be as much of a hindrance to try to get in under that roof, dig out, and just leave the little ditch, basically, in between your fingers there.
Do we have a dredging contractor yet?
No, we are waiting to figure out the permits first, and then once we know that a little better, we'll go out to what they call, at least what Moffett Nichols calls on the street, and we'd be advertising to the different dredge contractors at that point.
Is the plan for it to be a suction dredge or a clamshell dredge?
Right now, we have the flexibility for either. For FDOC, I think suction dredge makes the most sense. But we've got to find a contractor that can do suction dredge in this area, because I know clamshell is the most common.
Okay, so Kathy, you had a question?
Are we planning to have any covered moorage when it's all done, or we're done
No.
with covers?
We are finished with covered moorage.
Hey, then how does that affect the rate structure? Because currently we have two different rates.
They would go down to an uncovered rate. Even like, so for example, your vessel's in a 36-foot covered single stall, you would just be charged for a 36-foot slip, and you just get the flexibility of being single stall instead of double. Yes, and you can leave everything up when you pull into your slip.
What are your decision factors when picking between suction and clamshell?
I'm gonna say contractor and price are gonna be our two largest deciding factors. I would prefer suction because I think it would be a better option. I just don't know if it's within our budget or we can find a contractor here locally. So I'm waiting to see what we have presented to us once we go out to bid for that project.
Wonderful. Any other questions about this first item? Okay, let's move along. Safety site plan map update.
So
Elise,
that's
back
been,
over to you.
I know, that one's been delayed just a tad bit with getting everyone the programs they need to be able to do this adjustment. The last safety site map was from '92, so we're working off of a photocopy, probably of a photocopy. So redesigning that whole map, but trying not to reinvent the wheel is making that process a little slower. We think we've found a roundabout way to do that, and we are currently working on that. So hopefully we'll have that to you by next month, but we can hit a couple of road bumps that we didn't expect to hit.
What all is going to be updated on that map? I know there's a few things we talked about, but
Yeah, so on that map, you'll have all of the standpipe locations, all your water shut off, your electrical shut off, your propane shut off, your fuel shut off. Let's see, fire extinguisher, life ring locations, safety ladder locations, where the workboat is located, where oil spill response equipment is located, where the fuel tanks are located. AED locations, because we now have two at the marina. Off the top of my head, without looking at the old one, that's the best I have for you. Is there anything in that list that you think we're missing that should be on a safety site map?
Was that site map intended to be at the head of each dock?
It can be. Initially, it was just for staff use, but we are happy to present it to the general public, just so you guys can be better educated on where things are located in case of an emergency.
Yeah, I for one, think that would be really useful, because
Yeah.
every day I go through the gate at B dock, it'd be helpful to know that there are ladders at B 18, 22, et cetera, and, because if I see it every day, I might remember it.
Yeah, that's easy enough for us to do, and that's something we could possibly even do in-house, at least laminated sheets to begin with until we can get more permanent signage.
Okay. Any other questions on this, real quick? Okay, a pump out boat discussion. Now I'm remiss. I was charged with meeting with Elise personally to try to come up with some solutions, and we did not get together on this particular item, but it sounds like Elise has certainly done some of the legwork to find the other marinas in the area and what they're doing as a solution. I'm still very much in favor of offering pump out service, however limited or not limited we do to our marina tenants, because for one reason is that we always compare ourselves to other marinas in the area, and the one thing we don't have is mobile pump out. So I will make it an effort to meet with Elise before next month and come up with some sort of, whether it be a plan or a proposal, to see how we can make this work for everyone.
And I'm happy to take input from anyone else before that meeting, so if you've got something now that you'd like us to know, feel free to shoot me an email, and JJ and I can discuss it more at that meeting.
I'm
And we
just
can bring the results to the subcommittee meetings.
Is this something we've had in the past, or would it be new?
There's some history there, Louis. We had limited pump out. It's got to be before. It was right after COVID, was it? And we had a boat, and we had the pump out equipment in a boat, and the marina staff would, when people signed up for a pump out, they would, and we did on Tuesdays, was it, if I remember correctly?
Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on when in the time frame
I
you were
missed by 2
thinking.
days. So they would pump out the people who signed up for the particular service. Now, we're not allowed to charge for that, although it would be nice if we could charge for that. And, because I'm sure the liveaboards would be happy to pay.
I will be honest with you, I'm not sure they would, because when we stopped pump outs, there was a private company that tried to come in
Right.
and was not successful because no one would pay to have their boats pumped out.
That's unbelievable.
They were,
yeah.
within 2 months, they
Yeah.
said, we can't do this. They even tried like every other week, and so I don't know that you should bank on the fact that people would be willing to pay for it.
Well, then I guess I know some people will pay, but realistically, if we can get the equipment, and you can be reimbursed, as you mentioned, 75% of staff time for doing that type of thing. So,
Through a Clean Vessel Act
Right.
grant, yeah.
Right.
That is possible to do that.
yeah,
Yes.
Kathy.
Does it have to be staff, or can we find volunteers?
He'd be running the marina's boat. I'm not sure the marina would be crazy about that.
Like I say, I don't think liability-wise, we could let
Yeah.
anyone else run our boat. Now, if, that private guy had his own equipment as well, so you'd have to have your own equipment and your own boat to do
Right.
volunteer. I don't know many people that like to move 55 gallons of that around on their own boat very willingly, but
We
I mean-
already have enough on our own boat.
just figured I'd throw that
So
out there.
our two favorite marinas have a come to your boat pump out service. And I've never talked to the very young people who come to the boat, but they seem real happy when they get a tip.
Well, we were talking about this before everybody got here today. the Fecal Freak at Roche Harbor is a perfect example. They don't charge, but those guys, the dock attendants, they fight to get that job because of the tips. They're tipped most of the time $20 every time they pump somebody's boat.
Oh, I'd rather give them a big
Yeah,
tip
I-
than the guy who plugs in our power cord,
Yeah.
but I do get him to do it.
Yeah, agreed. I have another question about this.
Just a side note on that, city staff cannot accept tips.
Right.
So unfortunately, that will not be an alluring point
No,
for my unionized staff, that they could earn tips at a different marina doing this job, but not at our marina. So just keep that in
I have a
mind.
technical question. Does the pump out that we have existing today, does it utilize the lift station that's inside the restroom?
Not at building 2, no.
It
It goes
do-
straight
it's
to
got its-
it goes straight up to the harbor master one.
Okay.
And if the marina went away, that would not be necessary, so that pulling into the building 2 lift station to try to get someone else to help fund us, trust me, I tried that.
I was
They
just
didn't
thinking,
like
yeah.
that answer, so I
Well,
have
okay.
thought about that.
Because it made sense to me that where it was, it might utilize that particular lift station.
Mm-hmm. No, it goes
does
straight
not.
up to the harbor master
Okay,
office one.
got it. Okay. Well,
I do like where your head's at,
it
though.
was a good thought.
Thank you.
It was a good thought. Okay, any other questions or discussions about the pump out boat? Or anybody who has any input, that, when I meet with Elise, come join us or send it to me in advance and we'll get these things ironed out. We'll figure out a way. Okay, let's move on. A joint meeting between the MAC and the city council. Who was taking that as the lead for that?
Yeah, I spoke to the city administrator. We are getting that scheduled for you, working with Julie. I just sent her an email to check on dates for an upcoming workshop. We actually have that built into, I know, some of the language in the powers and duties of certain
Right, I saw
commissions.
that.
So we will schedule that if possible in the next few months. It'd be great to have that meeting before we do the department annual report.
Okay,
When I get a solid date, I'll notify you guys, but it will be it'll be a 1-hour joint session before one of their workshop dates, most likely.
got it.
So you can expect about like a 4 p.m.
Wonderful. I was just writing that down because that's a really great idea. Okay, let's move on. And this was kind of fun because I did read all 3 copies of the Commission bylaw and ordinance
You got it.
draft review, looking for the discrepancies between any one of the 3 copies. And I hope people got an opportunity to review this, because there's some really interesting stuff in there that I was not aware of. And I've been on this commission for a bit of time. But I do want to address just 2 issues that I found, if you'll indulge me. And one was very minor, and it was pointed on by, it looks like a comment on KP1, I imagine that's Kim, was making the comments. It was about, in section 2-A, advise the mayor and city council concerning matters affecting the marina. Now, I thought, well, geez, the marina is a pretty broad term. Why don't we identify it to include the marina, the uplands, the storage, the boatyard, anything that's remotely there? Because I think, quite frankly, it's good that we weigh in on all this stuff that's directly there. I'm not sure whether that language could include the all-encompassing marina.
So the blue comment is actually mine.
Yeah.
I wanted to add more specific direction for you guys, because you're right, that is very broad and very vague.
Yeah.
There are other boards that have like vision, mission statements,
Right.
goals, action items. And that's something I'd like to discuss with this commission on moving forward and getting that written to where it works for all of us. Because that way you guys have a better idea of what you should be doing as far as an action item. Like, what should I do with this? What do you expect from me? Instead of it just being, okay, you get to advise city council, good luck. Like, I want to give you guys more direction and purpose so that this makes sense for all of us. So that is something that we will probably start discussing pretty heavily in January. Trying to figure out, do we want a mission statement? Do we want a vision? What kind of action items do we want? What kind of goals do we want to achieve? They said that we should not necessarily address that right now, only because they want to try to get these changes put through by the end of the year. And us doing that discussion would probably delay a couple of months. And in reality, it would, because it's probably going to take us 2 or 3 drafts to figure out what works on each end. So that is something that I was going to mention in my harbor master report, is to be thinking about what kind of language you want in that bylaw.
Okay, very good. The next one is kind of a one that Brian, you may have to weigh in on this one. It's in section 3, subsection A, large letter C. So it says, 2 Marina Advisory Commission members shall be city residents and non-customers of the marina facility. I would love to see that added, and may be non-customers of the marina facility. And I say that for a reason. One is we have a vacancy on this commission right now, and to my knowledge, we do not have any suitable or any interested candidates. Yet we have tenants, marina tenants, who would like to be on this commission, who are not considered because we're mandated to have 2 advisory commission members that are non-customers of the marina. I would think that it's if we do not have qualified non-customers of the marina, why not place a qualified and interested marina tenant in that position? That's just my cut on this, and people can weigh in as much as they'd like.
Yeah. So this was a change that was implemented by the new administration during efforts to secure funding for marina improvements. So that of all the options, the funding, I should say, foundation was through a B&O tax, which is to the general public. So I think there was a desire to connect the general public more and have more of a voice with the Marina Advisory Commission from non-marina users. So that's where the intent of that comes from. And I hear what you're saying. We do want to make sure that we're able to fill those positions, and obviously those that have a vested interest in the marina are those that are interested in serving on those boards. I know that we have more than just marina users that show up at some of these workshops, though. So there are people in the community that are interested in marina issues. I would like to see that representation there. I think it's a good talking point for the rest of the community that, yeah, your voice is here. It's not just boat owners. Having said that, we do have one of our board that is transitioning, and we do have applications that we can interview for it. This also is a little bit of a good segue note that we have a few members that are coming to end of terms this year with, I think it's Kathy, JJ, and Gabe, and Louie. And then, well, our student rep is good, yeah. So Kathy, Gabe, JJ, and Louie. We just need confirmation that you want to be considered for reappointment. At this point, I don't know that we'll have to go through interviews, but because those positions are up and because we do have applications for the positions, we may have to do that. So we will try and get those interviews scheduled within the next few weeks. So I hear you say, I will talk with the city administrator about it. I don't know if that's going to change or not.
Yeah, my point was not saying that to reduce them, but just say that they may be non-customers of the marina facility. The may is sufficiently ambiguous that I think it gives the mayor a lot of flexibility.
So you may have to put a clause that if the position stays open for a certain period of time, then could be filled with the marina tenant on a annual basis, to where That way the position doesn't stay vacant indefinitely. So I don't know if they might be open to something like that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think outside of the box and logically to try to keep all the seats filled.
I think a clause is a good idea.
So we might need to work on wording for that.
Yeah, okay. I had other little happy to glad stuff in there, but I'm not going to bother with that at this point, because they were literally just changing happy to glad, so.
I would ask if you are comfortable with go ahead and passing a motion for recommendation of the changes, and you can make note in that notion with a recommendation of proposing that language change that we just talked about.
Sure.
I actually had, what?
Go ahead, Grant.
Oh, one more thing. The part where it talks about the student representative, I'm not a resident of Oak Harbor, but I attend the high school, so would there be any way to keep it closer to what it was before so that I could still be on this, or does that need to?
We'll have to look at the language there, right?
Yeah, maybe we can look at making that an and/or.
I would say put that in your motion personally, that,
Okay.
for the student.
Yeah, because I think we moved to kind of ignore that.
When he joined the board,
Yes,
correct?
yes, we
That's,
did.
yeah, I believe you're correct. They kind of waived that because he was interested and wanted to be on the board. And so I would say maybe another clause. If there are no other applicants, they must at least attend Oak Harbor High School. Or local, I guess the home connection would work as well. Or Christian school.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion now, I'm sorry.
I was just going to add, to simplify it, you could say must attend a school within the city limits of Oak Harbor, because the schools themselves have requirements to go to those schools, like you have to live in the right region, so to have both in here is redundant. So I think just saying a school within the city of Oak Harbor.
Okay, so now we're looking for a motion. I'll be really curious to see who words this correctly, to approve the Marina Advisory Commission bylaws and ordinances with the language changes for consideration. Is that close?
Yes.
That was pretty good. Okay.
So moved.
Oh, I made that motion. All right. So, okay, so it's been moved and, much to my chagrin, moved and seconded.
And seconded.
And do we have all those in favor?
I,
Hi.
Very good. See, look at that. I didn't even know what I was doing. Okay. Well done, everybody. That was colorful.
Likewise.
That was colorful. Okay. Subcommittee updates. Why don't we, let's see, Marita, are you prepared to talk about our subcommittee meeting that we had? That's right, we're gonna throw you right in there. You can't just sit there. Okay. Please put on your mic there. Okay.
it's always so much easier when Elise does these.
Unfortunately, you're going to be entertaining me on what happened.
Oh, that's right,
Because
yes.
Charlie was there.
And Charlie did a fine job, by the way, in pinch hitting. Okay, so we have about 15K for the harbor master bathroom partitions. That's enough to build, to fix the ones that are there and give 2 additional. Is that correct?
My understanding that replaces both the harbor master and the building 2. All those petitions, because the harbor master ones, especially in the men's room, you just have 2 doors. And then down, building 2 is where the partitions, there's more of them and they start becoming more expensive. I believe crew could install them, no problem whatsoever, so that labor is in-house. And we had received quotes, and I did re-quote it about 2 months ago, and the price that was in that budget item that Charlie shared with you was right on. They're the same. For the hard plastic, which is easiest maintenance, and it's gonna look better, I think, long-term. If we get graffiti, you can actually just sand it off. They can have a water hose full bore on them and it's no problem. That's the problem we're seeing now with the ones we have. They're the particle board filled, and years of restroom cleaning splashing up on the bottom is making it look like there's little groundhogs that live inside and there's piles of sawdust at the bottom.
And 15K is going to do all that?
Yep,
Well,
I know,
It's a
right?
bargain.
It's a win, isn't it?
that's a bargain.
I know.
It's a happy note.
When then we get to the
know.
next item on the list, we'll see there aren't many bargains.
I know.
So speaking of that, the additional cameras. So it looks like we will be able to get 7 cameras, but we're currently holding for IT support. Is that correct?
Yes, and we can get 7 cameras at about 19,000, and we had budgeted about 24,000 to get 9 initially, but Stephanie and I really looked at where we had blind spots and where we thought the cameras would be most effective. And going with some wider angled ones allowed us to cut down on the number of cameras that we thought we would need. And should cover most of the blind spots that we currently have, which one of them being near the dumpster area and the building 2 restrooms, so that if there's any issues later at night, we would have that footage as well.
Does that include install?
It was my understanding, but I'm beginning to wonder. Luckily, to my knowledge on that one again, they're going in locations where we already have cameras or electrical already at the pole, to where if staff had to and was capable, we could possibly install. But from my understanding, that was 19,000, we're done.
But you had originally budgeted 24.
Yes.
So do we
So-
still have a little bit of playroom in case we do need to
Exactly.
install?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 24,000 that was budgeted. So if we need to spend that extra 5,000 for install, we have that money there.
Just out of curiosity, would they be hardwired or wireless?
Hardwired, that's what they currently are. And we have figured out how to conquer the elements, both hot, cold, and wet, which has been a learning curve for us. Some of them, if you walk under them, have little fans because they were getting too warm in the summer, and we were seeing outages during the warmer weather. Most of them have holes drilled in the bottom so that if anything does leak, it doesn't just set inside the little box that has the switch. It'll actually slowly drain out. And the cold is not so bad for them for whatever reason. That's the one weather that they don't really mind.
As long as they don't move.
Luckily, they have been pretty good on not moving. We have the ability to move them a little bit. Some can go up and down or side to side, so we've actually focused in more on what we think we need to see versus like sky and just water. We've been able to get more walkway with those minor adjustments.
So these are going to replace some cameras and add some new ones? Or
Just adding
just
more.
add ones? Okay.
Yeah, so currently we have 15. So we'd be up at like 22 cameras, and like I said, that would pretty much cover most of our blind spots at this point.
Are they all recorded?
Yes. We can see everything for up to 30 days. I don't know if the police department has additional access for that. And they record every motion, so wind blowing, the spider web in front of one. I mean, it gets everything.
And adjacent to this is our Wi-Fi situation is working correctly now?
As far as I know, I cannot explain some of the Wi-Fi comings and goings because it does not necessarily make sense to me. But I've not heard any complaints recently. I did have one a couple weeks ago. We were able to restart the router and ta-da, it worked again. But
Okay.
At one point, we had talked about maybe getting a view of the water or something somewhere so that people could check that out. Is that an option?
that's what we're working on. We're gonna put one on the top of the Harbor Master House so you could see out across the entire marina and into the bay. And we would hope to possibly be able to, you know, put that on the news as a spotlight or even on the website so you could see actual weather conditions at the marina at that time. Because it shouldn't, no one should be that noticeable on that wide of an angle that they could say that we were spying on them. Granted, you might know who I am, but
While we're talking about this, has there been any discussion about putting another windsock out there on FDOC?
there is not, but
Yes, we would appreciate one. I know this summer all the time we're looking for where the wind was coming from. So if you could get we talked like a windsock on FDOC would
If
be
we can get a 15-knot
appreciated.
windsock on FDOC, that would be outstanding.
yeah, we can look into that because we've got plenty of places we can attach it to on FDOT. Would you want it within camera view?
I would always want it within camera.
Well, and because I'm thinking that will affect your placement.
Either camera view or if it could be viewed from like the middle of the harbor, it would.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of times with the youth sailing, setting up courses and stuff for the sailing kids, when the wind's really shifty, it's hard to see back to shore on some of those sailboats
Okay.
where the wind's coming from.
So like at F-52 might be one of the better locations because you can see it at the ramp and at the bay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. There's a navigation light that we can just attach additional up that pole if we need to.
Rita, you still
Okay.
have more.
I do. So the next one is tough. It's going to take a lot of discussion. Marina welcome sign is done. Yay! And it looks wonderful. It's really good. The Marina building number 2 lift station relocation. So currently at 200K, we're going back for additional funds to try to get money to do that. What we had a discussion about, though, was we want to know what's the, we're hearing that the insurance will no longer allow for us to have a claim. Is this correct?
Not that I'm aware of. So I know there was some talk when we made claims on FDOC that if we made one more claim, we would be dropped from our insurance. I don't know that that's concrete. I've asked that question, even through the insurance company, and they didn't really give me the answer of, oh, yes, you will be dropped. I can tell you that would not be the end of the world. We would not be the only city department that had to go out and get additional insurance, because there is another city department that currently is not within the pool and has their own insurance because of claims. So we would be able to get insurance, it just may not be the same insurance.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very productive to have an insurance that you can no longer make a claim in. That's not very helpful.
Yeah, and I'll owe that one. So that was an assumption that I had heard from the previous city administrator when we did the claim for the 400 and some thousand for the last claim, that it was likely we probably had one more major claim in us. So we have not put in insurance for some of the more minor damage things, just because we know eventually, until we get this dredging done and the FDOC repairs in place, we're one really good king tide or storm away from having to put in another claim and address some of those things. I don't know that the insurance would drop us at that point, but we've put in enough that it's slowly going up, and at some point they might reevaluate that.
Okay.
So it sounds like that didn't come from the insurance provider themselves. It was just a concept.
I'm going to guess that they alluded to that.
No
with the
insurance
previous
provider would say, you one more claim and you're out. They wouldn't do it. But they would allude to that.
Yes.
They would certainly do that. Along lines of insurance, have we looked at whether we can be self-insured? Hi, Mr. Goldman, how are you?
I mean, hey, how's it going? So I know the previous city administrator was looking into the different options for insurance when our deductible was raised to about $100,000 for the marina. As far as self-insurance goes, I mean, that's something we can explore next year, if we need to. But as of right now, we're still covered under WCIA. Things are still copacetic, and we haven't heard they're going to drop us or anything, so.
Okay, good, thank you. Thank you.
Wait, so one more thing on that would be, I'm unclear as to why that station has to be moved ostensibly by 6 feet?
It's a code violation to be inside the closet with electrical panels and a water heater due to the spark possibility from
Okay.
those
Okay.
and that lift station.
Okay, so it didn't have anything to do with a locked door
No,
type
no,
of thing? It
it's-
had to do with panels and
Yes.
the risk of explosion from said
Exactly.
panels.
And
Okay.
the wastewater department is having trouble getting an electrician to even come work on that electrical panel at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's not up to code. And that electrical panel, its parts are almost obsolete. Because it is an older one, so it is very difficult if they can find parts.
So is it, in just thinking, trying to avoid the 200K marker there, you can do Class 1, Div 1 explosion-proof panels. Is that something that would then alleviate that?
I would have to look into that. I really don't know
I
for
mean,
sure.
if the root cause of the move is that you have an explosion risk, which I get, that would be bad explosion risk in a lift station. Ick. But if you could mitigate that in another way by putting in a Class 1 Div 1 explosion-proof panel system, then it may or may not be, I would think that it would be less expensive if it would meet code.
Yeah, I'll be happy to look into that.
You
and
would think
work
that
with
it would be
waste.
less expensive to move the electrical than to excavate for an entire new lift station.
Possibly, but I don't know where we put it. Because I looked at that option. I looked at taking the water heater out. Can we utilize the one that's in the laundry room to power the laundry and the showers? Because they're not receiving the same usage that they did even 5 years ago. The answer wasn't really great because there really wasn't anywhere to move those electrical panels. Unless we put them all exterior, but then moving, there's at least 3, possibly 4 electrical panels. We're still looking at that almost 200,000 to put them all outside in weatherproof boxes along that building. So unfortunately.
Either way, it looks to me like, Elise, that you're going to have to do, you're either going to do probably both. You're probably going to relocate the lift station and replace the electrical and hot water heater.
Not the hot water heater. She's still under warranty. No problem there.
Okay.
And our electrical panels are fine.
Is that natural gas?
Not that one. The one in the laundry room is.
Okay. That's an electric hot water heater?
For the building, 2 restrooms, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 3 electric water heaters on the property and 1 natural gas. Well, propane, sorry, not natural gas.
Okay. All right, well then, moving right along, capital improvement project, the dredge project, I think you already touched on that. Do we need to go further into that one? Okay, then that goes right in with breakwater repair, and the main dock whaler repairs are all encompassed in that, so.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the non-capital improvements, looking for things to do in '26?
If not 26, 27, 28, the city administration team has asked that we start thinking about the next budget cycle and what we're wanting to do, non-capital improvement and capital improvement wise. I think our capital improvement are pretty much secured with the breakwater and main dock whalers, and we also had the south log boom projected for 2028 with no funding secured yet, so I don't know where that one's coming from, but
Well, I mean, we're looking towards non-capital improvement projects. So, but anything I can think of is going to exceed the threshold for capital improvements. So, I mean, if we've not even touched about my favorite subject, which is power stations. You know, what a perfect time to do power stations. We have a rough estimate as what we think it's going to cost, but that's going to be a capital project.
yes. Because we looked at just the West E-Dock ones, were about 110,000 to bring all of the unmetered ones up to code.
So we're gonna live with unmetered electrical panels out there, electric meters, continually. We have to fix that. I mean, we have people getting unmetered electricity we've got to do something about that.
I would love to do something about
We
it.
have money, right? I mean, there is money.
We do have some money, yes.
I mean, we have a considerable amount of money in that, in the Marina, in the enterprise fund. Is that not true, Mr. Goldman?
Well, there is funding in there, but the funding was looked at to help, do the marina dredging. and
Sure, I
breakwater.
understand completely, but I mean,
Yeah.
there are alligators closer to this boat right now. I mean, we have unmetered electrical panels out there.
So, but doesn't that, okay, the dredging, if doing another project to, say, putting in metered electrical, puts the dredging at any form of risk, I don't think that's
The dredging's
acceptable.
not going to be at any form of risk. It has to be done. It's a matter of what has to be done in the marina as well. I mean, we can dredge this incredible marina, and then people, they have power stations that fail all the time. So, I mean, there are things that have to be done concurrently. We have to continue to run a first-rate marina as well as do the dredging and the breakwater repair. They're not at odds with each other. They have to be done.
But wouldn't we want to be looking at that as what is our overarching amount of money available, and how much of that does need to be dedicated, no kidding, into dredging, and then how much is actually free to be able to do these other said projects?
But the dredging is not going to come from the marina reserves. The dredging is, at last estimate I heard was going to be, what, $12, $14 million, somewhere in there? Is that about right?
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
do take from Marina Reserves.
Of course they're going to take from marina reserves. You're not going to zero the marina reserves out. What happens if we have an electrical fire out there? And then we'll deal with it then. But we have to avoid that. We have, non-metered electrical out there. We have power stations that are crumbling, to the point where you can put your fingers through the boxes. This stuff has to be, you can't have a very deep marina and then nobody wants to go there because they're fearful of the power.
Well, yeah,
Go ahead.
if there's safety concerns, of course, those should be addressed, yeah, definitely.
I think I remember, Elise, you talking about that we had more of the power units that just hadn't been installed yet. So what kind of stuff do we have on reserve that we can get out and use?
So for those, we do not have anything in reserve that's not really being used. And we had looked at getting that particular run of unmetered pedestals and getting that line up to code, because that is something that we will need to be doing moving forward. But the funding that we were going to use is not there. We did not receive it. So that was $110,000 that if we want to reallocate money, you guys just need to make a motion, is my understanding, and then we can take it to council to try to get that adjusted, but it's not a guarantee.
I mean, is the intent to take the enterprise fund to zero to pay for the dredging?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I mean, we have to continue to do the maintenance and the upgrades that the marina requires. It's foolish not to do them.
Yeah, but also keep in mind, we have a very long list, so.
Of course,
And we
there-
have some
yeah.
capital projects in there, like we have 250,000 for the whaler replacements.
Right.
So part of, I think the exercise that the advisory commission needs to go through is identifying what are the highest priorities, what needs to be addressed first. We can move around and redirect those funds to make sure we handle the critical, like David said, obviously always, safety issues would be first. Any critical infrastructure that is going to stop operations or be prohibitively more expensive if it's not addressed right now should be, right below that, and then we get to some of these other needful things until we get down to the nice and wants. But we do need to, especially with these large projects of not just dredging, but the breakwater. And then we have this other project, this third, which is really the renovation of the docks, which includes all that stuff, right? The whalers, dock resurfacing in itself. The electrical lines, yeah, and the power is a big one, which we know is imminent failure. We've already seen that in some sections, and we've already, through evaluation with our electricians, have identified that that is going to happen. We've already had, we know that we've had some moisture penetration there where currents have gotten out. So we don't have it on this agenda, but we do need to talk about a time probably to have a workshop to do that priority exercise.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I would like to have you guys back up for a minute because what I know about electricity fits in a shoebox. So are we talking about now, I'm hearing moisture where the wires are. To me, that says you're going to have them all short out pretty soon. Are we talking about electric current in the water, the salt water?
We may be. We now have a documented instance where a boat on a dock is having abnormal wear on their zincs. And we don't know. There have been 3 electricians have looked at it, not finding anything wrong with the boat. So the only other culprit is the power station. And it's incredibly difficult to isolate, spurious currents into the water. It's very, very, very difficult. But we do have an aging marina. And is it out of the realm of possibility that we're leaking electricity into the water? Absolutely not.
We are leaking electricity into the water. I would say
Well, we don't know.
most marinas do leak
do,
some.
but in saltwater, it's not as devastating an issue as it would be if we were a fresh or brackish water marina. But it's things we need to know. And as Elise will tell you, I mean, it's only a matter of time before we're mandated to put ELCI breakers I can think of a half a dozen marinas right now that are systematically replacing all their power stations with ELCI breaker boxes. And, we're going to have to do that too.
So I do know the problem with the power in the water then is if anybody falls in, they're likely to be electrocuted while they drown.
It's a possibility. It's not.
It's not guaranteed,
but it is a unique possibility.
And especially when you have a lot of boats in a row with lots of electricity.
That is true.
Okay.
It seems like it would be good to have some kind of report of what our current status is and what the risks are of that current status. And then from there, we can develop a long-term plan of how to replace these things without disrupting other projects. But I think we have to, beyond just looking at what is there and saying that looks bad, we should have an evaluation of the current state and risks.
So just out of curiosity, it sounds like the risk analysis has been done before. Is there a specific process that you utilize to help kind of weight those projects? Like weighted shortest job first?
Well, here's a perfect example. Let's go back before everyone else in this marina was here but me, when we did the last dredge and we replaced all the power stations on CDOC. That was done without that type of evaluation, but it was done really poorly. So to get to where you're both alluding is it needs to be evaluated correctly, and it needs to be planned for correctly, and not put boxes that were not meant to be, outdoors, and not run the conduit along behind a piece of marine plywood all the way out the end of CDOC, and put the power cables back in the conduit where they belong. So, I mean, there's a lot of this stuff that we can address with a good study. But who's going to do this study and at what cost?
So barring a study, I mean, at least I believe you already have a list of our major projects, correct?
Yes,
Or
and I
proposed.
also have a list of everything I know from being maintenance that also needs to be done.
So I short of a study, and the study itself would probably cost us if we had somebody do that for us, but there are, I mean, reasonable ways to approach this, which is, risk versus probability. You know, what's the risk? Well, if this one fails, you know, we're going to burn the whole place down. What's the probability of that? Well, it's pretty dang remote. Okay. And you just run down through the list as a group, and we talk about risk versus probability on these items. And then you might even have another subset of this is a high-profile impact to the marina. That might be another factor you weigh in on. But it just getting a good look at that, the list that you've already got, and walking through that to make that kind of a read, I think would be really beneficial.
Yeah, cost of delay.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like
Yeah.
you factor in risk, you factor in all that, and then, of course, cost of the project itself too.
Absolutely.
You know, if it's low benefit, high cost, filter that to the bottom.
Okay, let's move on. Kathy, do you have a report from your subcommittee?
Gabe is giving her a report. Where'd you go?
You went to the restroom.
But before we put that to bed, an action item on that is there's going to be a work group to kind of go through that list.
I think that would happen in the project subcommittee, initially at least, and then we can bring it to the group and we can discuss maybe the top 5.
I think that it should be in the project subcommittee. You
I
bet.
agree.
You
I think
bet.
that would be a great place for that.
Yeah,
So we
Yeah.
can start that this month.
yeah, we
Sure.
sure can. You bet.
Yep. Yep.
And then and now we'll turn it right over to Gabe.
Great. I don't have notes in front of me. You're so prepared. But we talked about the community outreach aspect of the marina, meeting with Charlie, and one of the main things that we talked about was having a tenant meeting, and we sent a tentative date. I can't remember that date right now.
What
You
was the
guys
date?
chose the 5th. I will be out of town,
Okay,
but you had
The 5th of what?
December.
December.
I'm going to be out of town too.
So don't worry, JJ, it's not happening the 5th. We're good.
Okay.
We then looked, you guys had suggested the following week, which I believe makes it, what, like the 8th or something? I have reached out to the city administration team because if we're wanting it recorded and live streamed, it needs to be here in the council chambers. And we are working on trying to figure out if those dates work for the second weekend, that Friday or Saturday of December. So I will let you know as soon as I hear something.
Does it have to be live streamed?
It does not, but that was the request of the group at that time.
I would think you'd have many more attendees if you did it at the yacht club, where people just had to walk. I don't know. My 2 cents would be to do
I
it
will
there.
tell you the 2 marina meetings we had, one at the yacht club and one here, had about the same attendance
Okay.
for the future of the marina discussion. So I don't know if location matters. They were different people. So I don't know if we need to, I'm not advocating necessarily for multiple in December because I think that's going to be really tough. But having a follow-up one maybe after the new year or something at the yacht club.
I think the yacht club, given it's a tenant meeting, kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good data point to know that people came here. I think, especially in the off season, it probably doesn't matter as much. But we discussed that having it at the yacht club is maybe a more welcoming, comfortable environment for people rather than thinking they're at like a city meeting. It's more of a social environment.
So one thing that was suggested by the administration was to have Island Transit provide shuttle service from the marina to City Hall. Part of the desire to hold it here, if we could, is the ease of being able to record that and have people join remotely if they'd like to, where that's a lot more difficult to do at the yacht club. It's also a little more neutral territory. I don't know if that's a right term or not, but so just considerations.
Yeah, we acknowledged that this first meeting is going to be challenging. We're probably not going to get as many tenants at the first meeting. It's more of a get it off the ground. So I think The sooner we can have one, and if we can have it recorded, there's benefit to that, because people that aren't aware of it, forgot to show up, they can go back and watch a little bit and see if it's something they want to be a part of. So maybe for the first one, we do it here and have it recorded. I don't know.
Yeah, evaluate it how it goes, if you like it or not.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about why we're going to do the things we may be able to do. And the reason is we really feel like we are challenged to make friends in our community, get people into the marina, onto the property, let them see what's there, what they could use, what they want, and how they can be part of it. So the more value we can demonstrate to the citizens, the better it's going to be for us. So our look is long ways down. So some of the things we want to do, it comes out to about one a month. A marina tour, a scavenger hunt, some kind of an Easter egg hunt, a Christmas, a ornament thing. We might not be able to do that this year because we're kind of coming up on it. In the fish, make a big deal out of the fish arriving, even though it will be short notice, so that we can get the word out to everybody everywhere that they need to come on down and see these fish. And then when we release them, a terrific celebration party. So we do see there might be some costs that we don't know what they are as we go forward, because one way to get people to come is to offer food. So there may be refreshments at selected of these events during the year. We want to definitely partner with the yacht club, with the youth sailing. If youth sailing is having a regatta, we can be making a big deal out of that to come down to the marina and watch it and be part of it. So it's that kind of thing that we're really looking at doing, just lots of what seem like kind of small things. But we are going to need people to sort of head some of these small things up. And this is where we can have people who don't have boats and don't go to the marina and don't know anything, but they do know how to throw a party. Because we don't want to throw a party every month. That would drive us all crazy. But if we can get maybe 15 people who would be willing to do one a year, that would be fabulous.
So Kathy, is this kind of a concept of Friends of the Marina type thing?
Without having Friends of the Marina, because if you have like a Marina Foundation or Friends of the Marina, the organizations I'm part of, that means you're coughing up $1,000 every year to be part of it. So we don't want to get people's minds going in that direction. Now, maybe when we get better organized, maybe then we do want to have a Friends of the Marina who are a significant fundraising group for the marina.
Or does it have to be something that isn't that formal? Instead, it's more, hey, would you like to do this as an informal setting and with a catchphrase title, maybe not Friends of the Marina, but just an overarching catchphrase thing, you know?
Right.
You know,
Acquaintances of the marina.
Acquaintances, yes. I once went to the marina and,
I saw it once, yeah. Okay.
A few other events that we talked about doing as potential things maybe next year. One is basically we're trying to utilize the things that are already at the marina that are open to everybody. You don't have to be a tenant to use. So one was barbecues on FDOC. There's barbecues that are available to use for free, and I doubt most people know about that even in the marina, but making that public knowledge that it's a park that you can go to and grill food and do whatever. So advertising that, but then having events that are like a potluck, like everybody just show up on FDOC and bring food and make food and build community that way.
So you're saying FDOC's actually available to the public?
Sure it is, yeah. It always has been.
7 days a week,
Always
7
has been.
a.m. to 6
I didn't even know
p.m.
this.
For free, my
I
favorite
did,
word.
but I'm just saying, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So, I
Right.
mean,
It's
it's
a,
a great
remember,
opportunity
it's a
for
marine
outreach.
park
Yeah.
for use by the general public.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
This sounds like a party on the dock thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, all you have to just look back to all these things that the city has done, you know, all these events that we've had, you know, with a hot dog social out there, and that was great fun. And that really worked out well. And so people are willing to go down there, and I think if we publicize events like that, that we'd have tremendous participation, I believe. So,
The other concept that we had was a car and boat show. So have a part of the parking lot roped off, or bring your Corvette or whatever. Yeah, Mustang, whatever you're into. And then also on the water have people on their boats showing them to people walking around on the docks.
Are you looking at tagging like in with the would-be cruisers or?
Sure.
Yeah, that would be cool.
These are just concepts at this point.
Yep.
So we're looking for.
We want to tag in with anybody who's got anything that will attract an audience. We've got space, they've got stuff, we're in. But
Cool.
yeah, we want to cooperate.
food trucks.
food trucks.
Okay, is that it, Gabe?
Yeah. Unless there's
Okay,
anything else.
let's,
No, I'm good, thanks.
yeah,
Good job.
Congresswoman
Well,
Arms.
One of the things that Elise and I talked about earlier, if we want people to come here, maybe we can get Island Transit to, shuffle them over there. They don't have to worry about, we don't have a car or we're busy, and then get them used to having Island Transit, learning how to use it, and then telling other people, you can come to our marina and you can, use the transit. They can take you everywhere. You can go to Coopville, you can go to Deception Pass, you can go downtown, and try to get more people to realize they're just not on their boat if they want to do something else. So we were thinking about transportation-wise, doing something like that.
Okay, let's move ahead. Elise, it's all you.
I'll keep this pretty short and sweet. Marina staff has been pretty busy winterizing the marina over the last month. As you might have noticed, ice melt buckets are out, drip hoses are in place, fish cleaning station is closed, back half of the Waterloo is closed, and irrigation has been blown out. Our mini Bellagio fountain show takes all of 30 seconds. But it utilizes the fact that we don't have to worry about the pipes freezing under the harbor master house, which is not a fun place to have to do a plumbing repair as the last person to have done it. I can tell you, being on your belly, on rocks, trying to do plumbing is not all that enjoyable. Besides winterizing, we have been working with our part-time staff, Tiana, working on getting her maintenance skills up. And she's also repainted. She's our little artist around the marina. She's repainted one of the old tired signs that was able to just be repainted instead of having to go out and buy a new sign. We spent a little bit on a quart of paint, and she went to work and within a week had that with some new life. Full-time staff also moved the Flintstone Park dock, which is always an event because you have to have a +10 tide and less than 8 knots of wind. Don't ask me how I know. And they did it wonderfully. We're in within 2 hours of when they left. It is now a hotel for harbor seals, so if you need to know where they're located, they are on the Flintstone Park dock, which is wonderful. They're not on the regular docks. We did have an electrical on E-Dock that was repaired within a week. We were notified that there was no power to a pedestal. It was actually the pedestal adjacent to it that had an issue, so staff was able to get that fixed. No issues whatsoever. There was a light pole taken out earlier in the month. That will be back in place this week. We looked at more of a long-term fix instead of just slapping some cement in and some anchors and putting it back up. Looked at something that might be a little more stable, and if, or I guess when, it gets whacked again. hopefully that we don't have to go through this process. And I'm very thankful for my staff. I could not do what I do without them. They are one of the hardest working teams around. They attended the all-hands meeting, got to have their Thanksgiving dinner with the rest of the city staff, and also attended the benefit fair last week. So we learned all about what the city provides for the staff itself. Beyond that, I'm trying to think the youth sailing regatta went off without a hitch. I showed up on that Sunday morning just because I am nosy and wanted to see how everything was going. It was going wonderfully. I just changed some trashes. The most unique thing that I found that morning was someone decided to plug a crock pot into the Waterloo. I never thought I would ever say that statement in my life. We were able to make a quick adjustment, get that team taken care of. No one had food poisoning due to their crock pot not being plugged in, and we didn't have a fire hazard because the crock pot was plugged into the battery compartment. So otherwise, I would say thank you to You Sailing. They have taken all of our notes and have done wonderfully, put on an event without any hiccups, and we greatly appreciate it. And it was wonderful to see so many people, because I got to go to every patio to ask about the crock pot, because of course they were at the opposite end of FDOC that I started at. So everyone thought I was this lunatic woman out there in the rain asking about a crock pot at the Waterloo. Yeah, I got lots of fun looks on that one, which answered my question. I'm like, if you don't know the answer, then we're good. I'm moving on. Have a nice day. So beyond that, I don't have much else.
Okay, let's move to Marina Advisory Commission comments. I had just one. What happened to the dock carts, the ones that Byron put together?
They were too large.
I knew that. Where are they?
We returned them after about 3 months.
You disassembled them and
Yes.
put them back in boxes?
Yes. West Marine thinks they were always in a box.
Wonderful.
Yep. So we do still have the money that was donated for dock carts. At this point, I feel we have enough for the season we're in. And at the spring, we will readjust. And if need be, then we will purchase more using that funds that we have. Believe there's about $1,200 sitting in that.
Very good. Okay, I don't have anything else. Do any of the commissioners have any comments? Somebody's got to have a comment. No comments. Okay, determination of future agenda items. I think what's been working, or what worked this month, was we just, as we think of something, just send it to me or send it to Elise, and it'll wind up getting to Kim, and it'll be on the agenda.
I would say we definitely want to talk about the language for the bylaws next month.
Yeah.
We can mention it in both subcommittees, but I think that's something we should come back thinking about. I'm also working on updating the rules and regulations, so I'm hoping to have those for you for next month to see the edits that I have. And I was looking at the best management practices, and best I could find that was last updated in 2013. So I have worked on some edits for that and added some electrical that is just a boater guide of this is what you should and shouldn't do, because that's not anything that's mentioned in there currently. And moving forward, I'd like us to have best management practices for every aspect of the dock, and that was one that was missing.
Okay. Next meeting, December 8th. Be there, everyone. Are we ready to adjourn?